The difference between linear and lossy audio files is that linear files don't have any data compression on them. They are larger because of that, but lossy files can be shared easily on the internet or uploaded to services like iTunes or any other streaming service. They'll be compressed and remarkably smaller than the WAV versions. But in that process, you'll lose a little bit of the quality. That's why they're called lossy. You will lose something along the way, but it's the way the general public typically ingests their music these days. So, to render lossy versions of this audio montage, we need to change a couple of things in the Render tab. We're still there, and we'll want to change the location, so I'm going to click on the Folder button and select a new destination, and this destination is going to be called AAC for Advanced Audio Codec. That is the preferred codec of today. So I've got a separate folder to put these lossy AAC files into, but I'll need to change the file format from WAV default to something else. If you click on that preset folder, you can choose a factory preset to program most of the things that you'll need for an encoded type of audio file, which are the lossy file types. You could choose MP3, but MP3s at this point are pretty much dead. So unless you have a specific reason to do that, I would recommend the higher quality and more current AAC format. And I'm just going to choose iTunes Standard. And then let's go into the format and edit it and just make sure that we've got everything set properly. But before I program this window, AAC files can be 32-bit. So I'd want to make sure that the Dithering plugin is turned off. So I'll hit cancel for right now. I'll come over to my final effects in Dithering and make sure that the Dithering plugin is turned off. That will maximize the bit resolution of our AAC file. Then I'll come back to the preset button and edit the single format. So here's where I can choose the different file types, but because I chose that preset, we're just going to verify that these are all set properly. I'm going to set the type to AAC. The file extension is going to be .m4a. The channels are going to be same as the source files, so it's going to match the input stream, so they'll be stereo, in other words. But then the encoding right now is set to a constant bit rate, or CBR, of 128 kilobits per second. That was the standard for iTunes in the early days of music streaming. These days, the standard is 256. So we'll need to edit this encoding page to be a constant or CBR data rate of 256 kilobits. And then the quality is going to be slow. You could choose highest quality, but that may change the sample rate, and we don't want to do that. Instead, choose very good quality and slow, and click on OK. And then the metadata is going to be inherited from the source file. So it's going to take the metadata that you programmed under the metadata tab here and encode it into the metadata of each and every AAC file. Then I'll click on OK, and now that I've got this programmed properly, I'll just hit the Start Rendering button. You'll see that it takes a little bit longer to encode these files, and then it has to decode them to put them back into WAV format into Wavelab. And some people turn that option off in the Render tab so that they don't have all the files opened one by one, but I'm going to leave that on so that you can see one thing. Each one of these new encoded file tabs has a little green corner in the upper right-hand corner. That indicates that the file, when it was opened by Wavelab, was converted from a lossy format into a linear format. You don't get any quality back when you open an AAC file into a WAV file in Wavelab, but just know that it does have to decode that to get it into Wavelab so that you can further edit it. And when that happens, you'll see that little green arrow to indicate that this is a decoded file from an encoded or lossy file format. And now when we go to our Finder here, or File Explorer on the Windows PC, here's the AAC folder, and each one of these files is an M4A at 44.1 kilohertz, and those AAC files can be used to upload to iTunes or one of the other upload services or any streaming service where you want to deploy your music. And next, let's talk about rendering DDP images.